And Dr. Kabumba Businje on his account just tweeted, and I'm glad that he's here. He tweeted that it's an acceptable judicial impunity. He described it that way. Unfortunately, it is now more of a norm rather than the exception at the judiciary in Uganda. As I noted earlier, it may now be time to consider much to the judiciary. I think very soon the focus will also be turned there. Of course, our courts are going to be the arena of a legal showdown between the attorneys there of the people defending those who have been arrested and the office of the DPP as they tussle it out. For now, we know that people have been arrested and they have been remanded to Luzira until the 5th. All right, we have Dr. Kabumba Businje on the call. I hope he can get a second to say a word or two, but we'll also go back and talk to Counsel Anthony Masake as we continue. All right, more of your views and comments. Where have you been? What did you see? And where do we move from here? Let me bring in Dr. Anyama Alfred. You're welcome.
Thank you, Solomon, and members on the space. I would like to start by appreciating colleagues who stood with comrades who were earlier on arrested and those who kept on sharing the message and alerting us about the individuals that got arrested. However, during the day, I've been following some posts, and I'm deeply touched by posts by our people of our generation, the young people, the Gen Zs, especially those who do not believe in the cause. I saw some people are already some are pushing hashtags like Uganda is not Kenya, stay home and stay safe. Those are very discouraging messages and very unfortunate. Most of these people who are pushing this hashtag, these are some guys we graduated with. They did art-related courses. And remind you, on Saturday, Mr. Museveni said that those who did arts are supposed to go to do farming. It really pains me, people whose parents sold land, whose parents invested over 60 million, are betraying themselves for just 20,000, which has been given to them to just influence. It really beats the logic, my logic at the end of the day. For me, my message to people who do not believe that what we are doing is not right, they should just keep quiet. If you don't believe in the cause we are pushing for, it's better you keep your mouth shut, because some of us, we see daily how patients are suffering, how patients die because certain things are missing in government facilities. And it is upon this that, we continue to encourage people. We encourage people, to continue pushing harder and harder with the cause. During the day, earlier on, I'm not in town, but I'm going to get in town soon. We saw a doctor who came on board, Dr. Felix. He was waiting to stand to give support to comrades who, in case, get injured. We saw how police had beaten people whom they had arrested badly. So I encourage also, at this point, we are going to engage UMA, and UMA has to issue a statement. UMA has to step on board. The doctors need to give their stand on this matter, as we had seen it in Kenya, and this is something which is deliberately we need to push and ensure that associations like UMA and other medical associations, they step in. Otherwise, that is the brief thing I can say. Thank you so much. Let's continue mobilizing. Let's continue encouraging. Those who know comrades who have been arrested, we encourage tomorrow. At least let's pay them a visit. Let's go and encourage them so that they will know that they are not alone. And those who are nearby, we encourage also, we should continue the fight. As just as Solomon has mentioned, the next target should be the judiciary, because this judiciary has been used as tool of oppression. It is actually, for me, I feel like it is an excuse for somebody, maybe an Anthony to say that their hands have been tied. Their hands are not tied. What did they teach you? Did you go to law school to serve somebody? What you should know is that this regime will go, but what people are doing today is what we shall not forget. And therefore, for you to be on the right course side of the history, you have to do the right thing, reminding people up to fifth. Otherwise, they have really caused incarceration.
We have about 15 more minutes, so if I give you the mic, please keep it a bit tight so that other people as well can make a contribution. Levi Eyaru, you're welcome. Levi Eyaru, you're welcome. Levi, are you there? Eoki, Rachel, Okori.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me the chance to address you. First of all, I want to say that I'm a Kenyan and I'm closely following up on what is happening in Uganda, and I just want to take this opportunity to tell you guys that whereby children that were born in 1985 are still having the same president that you have. You've never changed anything. You have to push, you have to push. And these people, by the way, when you lose your fear, they totally lose their power. And Museveni will not shoot everybody. So you have to push. I was so proud to watch you guys taking a protest for a longer period of time. And I saw the Ugandan spirit. People are going back. And that's something that we really, really are pushing for, even as Kenyans, by the way, because there is no day that as Kenyans we
who have been using the hashtag called expose the corrupt. we were happy when we saw the advert of marching to Parliament. However, along the way, we realized that there was some agenda that was not very clear to some of us, and we had to pull back. Because if you begin telling me that this is leaderless, this putting that aside, Dr. Anyama said that the people who are pushing the hashtag Uganda is not Kenya have been paid 20,000. Actually, that one makes some of us to think that the people who are pushing march to Parliament have been bankrolled or are being bankrolled by foreign forces. And you have no right to say that. And if people say this to you, you have no right to say they are wrong, because you are falsely accusing people who you're not sure, you are not even you don't have evidence that they receive the money to do whatever they are doing. Because if you begin thinking that people are doing what they're doing because they're being bankrolled, it means you are also doing, or you are speaking what you're speaking, or doing whatever you're doing on the streets because you're being bankrolled. But lastly, being a doctor as you are, I believe you've heard stories of doctors or medical workers or hospital staff stealing drugs. Now, if it is true that government drugs are being stolen, I don't see you being a free man in that line. If drugs get lost and you are here, you call yourself a medical doctor, you are not clean at all. Therefore, I want to say, whenever you come and you say, I'm fighting for justice, you must come when you are clean yourself. You should not say you have this speck on your eye, yet your eye is full of a lot of stuff. You're supposed to clean yourself first and then clean others. Lastly, I feel bad to see that this thing is a Ugandan thing. But when I see Kenyans, Tanzanians getting involved in our stuff, it makes it beats my understanding. When they were doing their thing, we let them be. The Ugandan thing, let them allow Uganda. Yes, Kenya did their thing, and we let them be, and they're still doing it. I don't see any Ugandan involving himself in that. Now they're involving in ours. At the end of the day, I can predict you have already spoiled the whole thing. The thing was going to be smart, but because of the meddling that we are allowing into the country, we are going to spoil everything. Thank you so much, Solomon.
Levi Arrow, thank you very much for your submissions. I appreciate them. Uncle Ham, you're welcome. Hamza,
Yes,
you're
yes.
welcome. Karibu.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you very much, Solomon, and everyone listening in. Now, I'll borrow my words from one of the speakers yesterday on yesterday's space. He asked Kano Edith, when was the last time the police ever allowed a demonstration from the opposition? Then maybe we can follow suit and do what we're supposed to do. They've never. How can you arrest someone for just holding a placard? They were saying they will arrest people who will be making, who will be burning tires, who will be making a mess around town. None of everyone who was arrested today was doing any of that. A second thing, I would like to appreciate everyone who came through, because recently protests have been known to be done by the Mwogera Luyayes, if I could use that word. But today, the Mwogera Luzungus were part of this thing whole day throughout. So in that case, I want to appreciate everyone, and thank you, Solomon, for hosting this space. We shall not stop at this. We are going to continue every day until our voices are heard. Thank you, and have a good night.
All right. Thank you very much, Uncle Hamza. Appreciate your comments. Thank you. Three more, and then we can go. Mr. Matovu Isma, you're welcome.
Thank you, Solomon. I hope you're hearing me, everyone. Thank you for being here every day. We appreciate you. Now, my concern is all the youth in the country, we have to raise up our voice for about corruption in the country. When you check around in the world, Uganda is one of those countries whereby there's so many youth. So when you check these people who are corrupt in the country, they're actually 50 and above. Ladies and gentlemen, this must stop. And we need a guide from the police. We need them to help us and give us protection. We are armless. We don't have anything which is going to make any incident in the country. Please, police or the security or everybody there, please just help us. And we are coming back tomorrow. You have to listen this if you like it or not. This is our country. We have to fight for it. Thank you very much, Solomon. I appreciate it.
Mr. Mukasa, thank you very much, Mr. Mukasa Isma. Okay, interesting. Desire Chichoncho, you're welcome.
Hello, Solomon.
I will bring you in shortly. Let's first listen to people who had given the mic earlier. Desire Chichoncho, you're welcome. All right, I think Desire Chichoncho, we can't hear you. I'll drop you off. Yvonne Babiria, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Solomon, for having me. Thank you very much. I would like to appreciate the people that have stood with us, Uganda Law Society, that has come up to stand with the young people, and then the Agora Foundation. They've tirelessly been lending a hand in any way that they can. So we are really, really grateful. So I'm going to be brief in the interest of time. And my point mainly is to the Uganda Police and the UPDF. So these young people are moving with their placards and maybe raising their voices. The worst thing a placard can do to you is give you and the worst thing a voice can do to you is give you a headache or a migraine. These were peaceful protesters. I don't know why they had to be handled with such brutality. We, the youth and citizens of Uganda, we hold the law keepers in high esteem, and we expect them to protect and to serve. But their heavy tactics used against the youth today have eroded trust, and this is only going to make matters worse. So this is a kind reminder that you guys should remember your humanity. You have families. These are your children. These are your children. These are your children. You can't handle them with such brutality. You have to show mutual respect to these young people. You have police and the army. Do not breed further frustration and resort to violence. The young people you see before you are not your enemies. These are the future of the nation. Engage them with understanding. Try to be understanding. I don't know what they do to you in your trainings. I don't know if you're cast under a spell, because you two are victims. You two are victims of corruption. So you must stop whatever brutality that you've been exercising against these young people. Please, we beg you to just be understanding and humane. Join us. In this fight instead of subjugating.
Comments he made, I think we should not be derailed by persons like Levy. We are all Ugandans. We know what is happening in the country. I am not sure if Anita Among or Mpuga, when they were stealing Ugandan taxpayers, asked for leaders before they could steal such monies. So such people will come up, but let us not be distracted. Secondly, I would like to call upon all Ugandans to take up Dr. Stella Nyanzi, Solomon, Agora. We need a march to Parliament, to the judiciary this Thursday to demand for the release of our sisters and brothers. How can a magistrate remand someone up to 5th August for no crime at all? We cannot allow that kind of impunity to continue. We have people like Olivia Lutaya, who have been in detention for over 2 years. What crime did they commit? The crime they committed was supporting the National Unity Platform. So we cannot allow that kind of impunity to continue. We need to match the judiciary. We need to match the Chief Justice's chambers. Tell him to, if he cannot handle judicial matters, he should resign. He should resign. We should get magistrates. We should get judicial officers who are able to empathize with Ugandans. Ugandans have a right to protest. They have a right to demonstrate. You cannot gag them and take them to Luzira and tell them go and sleep in Luzira up to the 5th of August. For what crime? What crime have they committed to come out the streets and protest? It's very annoying. We need to, Dr. Kabumba, please let us amplify that hashtag. And I'm calling upon all Ugandans this Thursday. We need to match that judiciary. It is located at City Square. The judiciary prints are located at City Square. We need to match there, just close to Parliament. These people need to start taking us seriously. You cannot detain our mothers. You cannot detain our sisters, and you expect us to go back to our beds and sleep as if everything is normal. No. It has to stop, and it stops today. On Thursday, Agora, Agatha, Dr. Spire, please, Dr. Stella Nyanzi. We cannot give these guys time to rest and reorganize themselves. No, it cannot be next week. It has to be done now. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot for your comments. Much appreciated. Daniel, Mr. Daniel Dante Olara, you're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Solomon. Thank you, everyone, for always being here. Solomon, it's been a long day. Us who could not make it to Parliament because of distances, we've been pushing the idea, pushing the message online and wherever we are. And I just want to make one comment that however much there are a section of the people that are looking at how probably the march to Parliament failed, maybe because we didn't have the numbers that matched to Parliament. I want to think that a bigger impact has been created in day one of the march to Parliament. I took my time to look at all the government Twitter handles. Each of them were panicking, at least to make a comment, either to defend their position, which is the corrupt position, of course, or to try and defame the march to Parliament. So, to me, I think this is already a win. Why? Because the message has been sent clear that we know what you are doing as government. You are stealing the funds, and on top of that, you are protecting the people stealing the funds. And we don't want that to happen. We want you to resign. We want the people to be cleaned off that office, and we have a new set of leaders who will not be thieves in that particular office. So why does this then make us more energetic for the next coming days? Our voices, regardless of how they have spread, will be heard. I want to also make a small comment to Levy that regardless of what hashtag probably we are going to use online to present the idea, I feel like it doesn't matter. But also we understand that there are a section of people who probably sideline with the corrupt people, I call them now, and somehow they want to push our anti-agenda to the march to Parliament. Something like stay at home, don't go to the streets. Something like you're copying and pasting, Uganda is not Kenya. We also know that there is that group that exists. Whether they are paid to do it or not, we don't want to consider their notification. Whatever motivation they have to do that. But the focus remains and the message is very clear. So the rising up, the march to parliament is something that is geared towards restructuring the system to benefit the people. You cannot tell me, some people are like, why don't you march to the MPs' homes or to, wherever they stay? But our argument is these misappropriations happen from parliament. When the commissioners stole that 1.7 billion, it happened in the speaker's office in parliament. All the misappropriations, including the ones that deputy speaker bought the generator for his home, all these things happened from parliament. And the reason why it's a march to parliament is because the biggest problem of stealing public funds happened in parliament. And so, to me, it's already a win. And two, it has sparked of something that would probably in the future yield fruits for us. Lastly, Solomon, the people that were arrested today, just in seconds, the people that were arrested today will need to continue standing in solidarity for them. It is constitutionally not right that they are remanded until 5th of August when you cannot literally produce what crime they have committed. So I want to also sound the same wake-up call that let's stand with them, let's continue pushing that they are set free. I thank you, Solomon, thank you, everyone.
Daniel Dante Lara, thank you very much. Daniel is a youth leader there. Thanks a lot for your submissions. Derek, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Solomon. It's a pleasure to get a moment to speak here. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ugandans and our well-wishers. First and foremost, I would love to say that we all love Uganda, that's for sure. Those of you that are here, those of you that are abroad, those of you that did march, and those of us that have been in the bush today. Yeah, so we share a common goal of the love of the country. And I would like to thank each and every one of you that participated, that went out to the street. Today, for sure, if I was in Kampala, it was going to be my first day to wake up and grab my shoes and grab whatever to go out on the street to march. Why? Because I believed in the cause. I believed in the message that was being put out. I believed in the justification that we are trying to preach today. The war is against corruption, guys. The war isn't against a specific candidate or a government or like people are trying to over. It's crippling everyone. Me as a person who is in, if it wasn't for corruption and the bureaucracy in the government. So for the young people that are rising up and trying to create Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that. All right, we're also joined by Godwin. So let me just invite Godwin Toko to give us a comprehensive update of what happened today. Toko, thank you so much for the work that you've been doing. I know that you've been moving in different police stations. Could you an update on what's happening and what have you been able to gather? Godwin Toko, you're welcome.
Thank you, Solomon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so a lot of things happened today, and I would not say that I know whatever happened, but I will just share a few of the things that I directly interfaced with. So on for weeks and over 2 months. And we know that since yesterday, the deployment in Kampala has not been unprecedented, but the kind that we normally see towards elections, when the opposition are organizing, or when they claim that there's a terrorist threat. I passed by Parliament, the road that's just opposite Serena, when I was moving from Nakawa Court to Buganda Road, and it was insane. They blocked the whole section of the road and pushed forced traffic to one route. The kind of jam that was there is the kind of jam I had never experienced before on that particular section of the road. I don't know, Serena being such a key tourist hosting place, and that area being known for tourists and stuff like that. I don't know the impact of that on tourism and things like that today, or if the state ever sits and thinks about such. So that was the background, that there was this insane deployment. But regardless, the young people said they would protest, and a number of them protested publicly. Some of them were arrested even before they could protest. In mind comes the group of Pfizer, B-Wall and others, Timothy and others. These guys were basically at the basement of somewhere at Garden City, writing. They had posters and marker pens. That's the only weapon they had. So they were writing "Stop Corruption" and things like that on these placards. And before they could know it, the police surrounded the place and arrested them. There was one particular gentleman who was only taking photos of them doing this thing. It was added and they were arrested. Now, that group has been remanded until the 30th. I was at court. They were taken to Nakawa Court. The lawyers on this panel, the lawyers here will see that there's an interesting shift here, because there's what lawyers call magisterial jurisdiction, that when something happens in a particular area, there's a magistrate that covers that area. So these guys were taken to Nakawa Court, which is way out of the jurisdiction of Garden City. They should have either been taken to Buganda Road Court or the court at KCCA, but they were taken there nevertheless. That's the first question that raises red flags. So while at that court, I went with a team from Chapter 4. I was also accompanied by my young friend and brilliant lawyer, Sasi Marvin. We get there, and the things were being handled very hastily, very fast, and as if it was some kind of something to be secluded from the rest of the world. So these guys tried to present their sureties. People had their police letters and everything. But from the get-go, the state attorney was saying that she was not the one to handle that case. Now, remember that this is a person employed by the state to do that kind of work, but she was looking for each and every tribe of excuse to use. So there came a time when they said, you know what, get your sureties ready. So of course you have to go and photocopy the ID, photocopy the police letter and things like that. So they gave us 10 minutes. In those 10 minutes, I was helping someone to photocopy their things. And there was another shift for me particularly, where I go to one of the offices and I had to plead to have these things photocopied, something printed. And the lady there asked for 20,000 to print something of one page using a government printer. But that's a story for another day. And I had to pay that money, and I paid it. But as all this was going on, we saw the state attorney walking out. And then we come back to court normally, expecting that she would join us after like 10 minutes, we had been told. And then we wait for 10 minutes, 20, 30, 40. And then the magistrate simply says that we can't proceed because the state attorney hasn't returned. So she says that I think we should remand these guys. She initially said some date in next month in August. First, there was a bit of protestation. Then she said, as if she was acting now like a savior of sorts, said that now let's come back on the 30th. 30th is next week. So basically, what the injustice here is that people who are protesting against corruption, young Ugandans, productive taxpayers, Pfizer works for a radio station, B-Wall has been in very productive work for this country, a taxpayer, are going to spend a number of days behind bars in Luzira because they said they don't want corruption. That's how you should understand it. But that while at it, the magistrate allowed them to go because of a weakness on the part of the state attorney, who disappeared in thin air. She's not a very small woman, but she disappeared. Like, we're still watching, and then she went out of the gate and never returned. Basically, absconding from duty, absconding from work. It was not even 5 p.m. This lady disappeared at around 3 p.m. and she never came back. So these 5 young Ugandans, whose only crime, remember, is standing up against corruption, are going to spend those days in jail. Then there came a case we heard about that there were people being held at Kabalagala police station. So, of course, the same group of people, Sasi Marvin, there's a group from Haki Defenders. We got on borders, people got into their cars. and we went to Kabalagala. The initial indication had been that there were as many as 6 people there, but then when we turned everything upside down, tried to check, there was just one person. Now, the one person was arrested in relation to the protest, but not directly. Of course, we first met a very rude officer, but after we tried to talk, of course, when you're doing this kind of work, many times you have to be very human, you'd have to take a lot of insults. He came back to his normal Ugandan sense, which I liked, because now he started speaking to us like citizens of the country, like equals, like if I could say. Then eventually he said, okay, get me the name of the person that you think is here. We got the name. Then we realized that the person didn't even have a case. The person was released there and then. I tweeted about him earlier. That's Dumba. He was released there and then. I have just seen a DM from him. I haven't responded to it, but yeah, I see. He has his access to the phone and all that. So that was a very fortunate case. Then we had another case of someone being at Wandegia, Kauma Marvin. So from Kabalagala, we moved back to Wandegia. One day they said there was no one, and I could see that the officer, it's easy to tell when someone is lying or hiding something, but I could see the way he was talking, he meant what he was saying. Because of my beard, people tend to think I'm a Muslim, and I take advantage of that and begin by saying Assalamu alaikum. So when I said that, I could see it in his face that he really meant what he said. He even gave me the list of people who are being detained at one day, and I perused through it very fast, and there was no name whatsoever of Kauma Marvin. Then we go to CPS, the Central Police Station in Kampala. Now that's where most of the people who were arrested were detained. The second group arrested, I think, after the Pfizer, if not the very first, was the one of Habib Bouembo. Now, Habib Bouembo is someone who has really faced the wrath of the speaker. He has been arrested several times. Sometimes he would call for just a press conference and say, I have a press conference to address the issue of iron sheets. And before you know it, the place where he's supposed to host the press conference, the last place I think was Zambia, Sharing Hall. The whole place was swarmed with military men of all colors, all tribes, all ages, and they arrest him in the most violent ways. One time, I think he has spent about 150 days on different times being arrested. Initially relating to the speaker, Anita Mong. One of them, of course, is calling a press conference. The other one, they accused him of cyber harassing the speaker, something like that. Again, he spent something like 50 days. Now, he was one of the people arrested. So all these guys were brought to CPS, the Central Police Station. So we get to the Central Police Station, and you could see them from a distance. There were so many lawyers. And of course, I'll take this point to send a shout out to all those lawyers. There's so many lawyers today who offered legal services to people they don't know, people they have never met. They will go to court and they will go to a police station and they're meeting this client for the first time. A client who probably would not ordinarily afford their services, but they're offering them the services. So the police at CPS were harsh, were crass. They were everything that misrepresents what Uganda should be. And they even stopped people from doing as little as talking to their lawyers. They put a barrier. There's that barrier that they put since the unfortunate bombing that happened about maybe 2 years back. So they maintained a safe distance, if I could say, with the lawyers. So all of us were swept aside. So we didn't know how many people were in the police station. We didn't know what charges were going to be preferred against them. We basically knew nothing. So we were there trying to brainstorm. Then, of course, fortunately, a lot of people were hungry. Mama D brought in food, and people had lunch, which was a good thing. That food was supposed to be for those who were arrested, but now you're looking at a situation where you can't even talk to those who were arrested. So simply, the food was given to the lawyers, some of the human rights defenders there, who are supposed to stand surety, and everything. Now, from that point, the wait goes on. There was waiting. It seemed like forever waiting. Then that's when we got the phone call that these guys were being taken to Nakawa. So yeah, that's when we went and the Pfizer's case happened. Now, after that, of course, we come back to Uganda Road. Then we are told that they are going to be brought to court. And indeed, they brought a number of people to court. Now, from my estimation of the numbers I've seen at Uganda Road, I have someone has just sent me someone had asked earlier sent me all the charge sheets, which I should tweet in the next few minutes. I haven't looked at them yet because I had to first come to this place after charging my phone. But our estimation is that there could be as many as anywhere between 50 to 70 people arrested today. That we'll take that as a loose figure for now. So the majority of them are at Uganda Road. Now at Uganda Road, they split them into different courts. So you'll be looking for someone and they're in a court down or they're in a court up, or they could change them. The person you saw in the court up is suddenly in the court down. They keep saying that the door has malfunctioned here, let's move the other side. So it was all this bedlam, chaos, and sometimes they've sentenced someone, then he stands up. These young people who are very resilient, they stood up and started singing the anthem, chanting against corruption and doing all those things, knowing that, yes, I'm going to lose it, but I still stand on this cause. Yeah, quite a number of them. So that was the situation at Uganda Road. But from what we gathered by the time I was leaving, because I couldn't be in each and every courtroom, and I was also surety for one of the poor arrested, Praise, who is spending a night, unfortunately, in New Zealand, a breastfeeding mother with a very young child, meanwhile, if I could add that. So from all that was going on, we gathered that one court sent 19 people to the 31st. That's when they will reappear in court. Another court sent 8 people to the 30th. Then there's a third court that sent people, but I can't seem to figure it out yet. If I remember that, I'll let you know later. But while all that was going on, people, of course, were frustrated. They get out. And then, all of a sudden, we see police officers walking into the courtroom, into the court premises, not the courtroom, the parking lot. They pick one man. And, I was just looking on. I hadn't eaten anything from morning. So I said, Mama D gave food earlier. But I must clarify that the food she was giving was beef, which I don't eat. So I didn't eat the food. So I was really hungry. Not having eaten lunch since yesterday lunch. So I was there. Then I see someone calling me and saying, Toko, they are taking me. Then I looked, and it was true. There was someone getting arrested. Now, we tried to get out. But then, of course, like I said, Buganda Road, the CPS guys are not even allowing you to get close to the court. So this guy was taken to court. So as we're standing there, we see more of these. They are called the field operation, the camouflage-like uniform of the police. They walk in, and they brutally arrest the former guild president of Makere, they call Maseruka. They beat him. I don't have to over-explain this. The videos, you're going to see the videos online, because when they were arresting him, people took these videos. They beat him, throw him down and all that. So he's also taken to the police. Now that's the point when people said, you know what, let's leave this court premises. And that's when I left the court premises myself. So that is like a sneak peek of what happened today, and from where I saw it, from my own perspective of what I saw, what I interacted with and interfered with. But yeah, there was so many people that came out to protest against corruption. They didn't come to overthrow the government. They were not robbers. They were not stealing. There was no one charged with rape or defilement. The police even had nothing to charge them of. That they ended up picking a charge of being idle and disorderly, that the president said is a colonial thing because it was used. And I agree with the president. It was a colonial setup where the colonial government, for those who have read the history of Uganda, you see that there was a time when the colonial government even cordoned off Kampala and said you couldn't go beyond Wandegea and particular areas because of our skin color. So they said these areas were for white people and Indians. So those are the times when these laws were being applied. Now, even in a more recent situation, a court case declared that particular section of the law to be null and void, unconstitutional. But shamelessly, without an iota of common sense in them, or with disregard for everything to do with common sense, the state attorney, starting with the police preferred charges against the Pfizers of being idle and disorderly. This same charge that is both unconstitutional and the president has pronounced himself about. Then the state attorney defended that they should go to jail because of those charges, and the magistrate, whose name I will share and photo and everything in the next few, sent them to Luzira to go and spend their days until the 30th on these charges. All that was very heartbreaking. All that was very saddening. It's hard looking at people and you can't help them. Yeah, you're seeing that these people did nothing wrong. I have never been arrested before in a situation where I did absolutely nothing, other than telling the policemen that they were using so much force during the convocation elections in Makerere, and that was captured on camera. But I spent a night in jail. So I put myself in these guys' shoes and I was thinking, these guys are being arrested for doing absolutely nothing wrong. But I couldn't help them. But the good side, the upside of this today is that there were so many people who came out and did amazing things. Like I talked of the lawyers earlier. Uganda Law Society sent a team of lawyers. People were wondering if Uganda Law Society would match up with what they saw with the equivalent society in Kenya. Of course, it couldn't. Our circumstances are different. But within their limited means, the Uganda Law Society did impressively well. There were other lawyers not even sent by Uganda Law Society. There were several organizations, National Coalition of Human Rights Defenders, who sent their lawyers who did impressively well. I mentioned Mama D, who gave people, total strangers, food because she believed in the cause very, very well. There were tens, if not hundreds of people who responded to our tweets, random tweets saying that, please, if you have a police, an LC1 letter introducing you and a national ID, come to court and stand surety. And there were so many people. If there was justice to be served today, if justice was to prevail, these people shouldn't be in jail. But from what I saw, I don't know if it was an order from above. I don't know whatever the magistrate and all these guys were up to. They must have made up their mind that these people were to go to jail. So that is what happened. They went to jail. Unless there's a question, Solomon.
All right, Goodwin. So what next? Where do we go from here?
Okay. Now, I can't say what next, but I know that we are going to do everything within our power. I work with an organization called Agora, which is a very small and young organization with limited means. Today we've tried as much as possible to keep track of who is arrested, because many times when such things happen, you can actually be arrested and you're taken off. Yeah, before people realize that you are arrested in relation to the protests, you've spent as many as maybe like 3 or 5 weeks in Luzira. So we've tried to keep tabs on who was getting arrested, and that's why I was running up and down. Agora pays my bills, so that's why I was running up and down. So we're trying to get these lists of all those who are arrested, and we have got so far the lists of those that we know that have been charged in court. We are going to try as much as possible to work with whoever we can to get them legal representation, because if they've been sent to Luzira and they're not given bail, they will come back to court, whether it's 5th, whether it's 31st, whether it's 30th, and we'll try again to get them bail. And yes, I must say, what I forgot earlier to say is that some people who were arrested today were not even taken to court at all. We learned later that a number of people were kept at CPS. Probably they'll be taken to court tomorrow. If that's the case, we shall be at court tomorrow. So for us, it's going back to the drawing board. What do we do to help these people? Like I said yesterday on your space, Solomon, Agora did organize these protests. But when there's injustice, and there was glaring injustice today, we were seeing it was in our faces, and abuse of power, which we have been running a campaign against, Stop Abuse of Power, UUG. I think we are going to do whatever we can. I can't share what we are going to do right now, but I know that there's going to be a strategy and a plan. And I know we are going to work with other organizations as well. I think there's going to be a statement. There are going to be so many other things. But whatever we can do within our little means, you're going to do.
All right, thanks, Godwin Toko. Thank you very much. Of course, we know that there's a team of lawyers from Chapter 4 that is well on the same front, the National Coalition of Human Rights Defenders, the Uganda Law Society, and everyone in their own means are trying as well. Of course, I know that the journalism fraternity too, the media has been covering this extensively. And of course, all of us in our and that has united all of us across the public spectrum. I'd also love to step away to go, so get a bite. But let me just give an opportunity to a few, and then I can come back and perhaps give my closing remarks. Mahad, you're welcome. Mahad Karies. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Thanks, Solomon, for the she's not here, but I wanted to ask and say if she's at the help. At the late General Benon Biraro, while being hosted, I think, on Desert Island desks on Capital FM, when asked why he joined the president now to go for war, he said he was a student at Makerere University, and this is why I wanted to speak about conviction, because it's been rotating, I think, over and over again, that how did we actually get here? The late Benon Biraro, Major General Biraro, said that it was 3 p.m. when he was walking into the gates of Makerere University, and he saw a soldier of a mean who had to lower his pants and rape a woman at 3 p.m. And from that time, it gave him a conviction that he had to be part of the people that had to, change the course and direction of the country. And I think it's the same thing we don't need a higher moral standard to anything as grave as that, as a soldier raping a woman at 3 p.m. Next to One Day Gear Market, for you to feel convicted to say you will speak about something as heinous as that. And that is the same conviction. And I think that is, for me, where I think that is how we have arrived here, that we are having young people speak about atrocities, cities want to suspend these students for speaking out, for risking their lives, rather than actually supporting them, supporting their cause, and decide and say they will risk their lives. What do? We give them, we gaslight the seemingly a change that we seek. We're not using sledgehammers to hit mosquitoes. The mosquito is just a plug. But we are seeking for a common good. Like I rightly began my submission, that General Biraro saw that the unthinkable, to tolerate the unthinkable of saying of people who are even telling us that if you speak government, we're actually saying that all going to speak out were probably anti-government. No, for the common good, that you actually, by the time right now, as I speak to you, Toko has said he was going to stand surety. I trained praise to the debate in the debate platform. I was actually very spirited that when she was actually saying she will go out and demonstrate, I didn't have to be very apathetic. I didn't have to be very apathetic, and that's what we have groomed in this country, that we have a lot of apathy. We're telling young people, do not engage because you're actually young. Those are very denigrating statements. So how we move forward is, let's be tolerant. Can we actually have civility? Can we be cordial enough that during these sessions we actually listen to one another, but most importantly we advocate for a common good, that when you look at a soldier, you actually tell them that by the time you get to go to your home, you need to know that when you go back to your home, you will find your wife safe, you will find your child safe. Even today, as you remind me, and I'm going to spend 7 weeks or 7 days in prison, I am going to come out, but we actually seek a common good.
All right.
And I think,
All right.
I think,
All right.
yeah.
Peter, I'm afraid I have to cut you there, but thanks a lot. I think we hear you loud and clear. Thank you very much. There's some couple of people who want to submit as well, but thanks, Peter. We hear you. Let me bring in Mr. Orr Charles. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Solomon, and I'm profoundly honored to be on this platform, and I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, we can.
Yes, and I want to start by submitting that, yes, I want to borrow the scenario in Afghanistan when the Taliban were there. They said, the US, you have all this machinery and everything, but you have the clock, but we have the time. And the generation we are dealing with, for the record, I'm a millennial. And when you look at the demographics that we are dealing with, they are the majority. Actually, if you're a millennial, I consider myself an endangered species, because these Gen Zs, we took them to school, they have studied, we denied them the right education, and then we are messing up as old people. When you look at the kind of the age limit of the people who are in what we call the politicians of today, actually in the government, the median age is 61, and yet the entire population, the median age is 16. So why can't we have a decency to listen to these young people? They are Ugandans. I had an opportunity to be a leader in Makerere during my time, and I recall very well the president listened to our cause, sat with us, invited us, and listened to us. That was when 2000, when people were debating about the referendum and all this kind of thing. What is so different now? Because what the young people are demanding, some of us may be comfortable in our own spaces, but ideally, this corruption affects each and everyone. It doesn't affect any. You can cushion yourself and say, yes, I've benefited. But at the end of the day, if you look at it clearly, we have borrowed as a country, immensely borrowed, and the template is very clear. It's my grandchildren who are going to pay back these debts. Not. And I want to point here, I don't want to sound academic. And glaringly, corruption is the root cause. So we shouldn't be just dilly-dallying about corruption. Everyone must fight for the cause. I was just, amazed by a uniformed officer sitting on this young lad. Why do you still, is this the society that you want? Recall that the in this space. And for me, I encourage the young people, you have the clock. Thank you, Solomon. That's my submission. Over to you. I want other speakers to speak. Over.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your submissions. They were really deep. Mr. Wall Charles, thank you. Mr. Wall Charles holds a PhD. And he's also he's an academician. Thanks a lot for your thoughts and your submissions. I will bring in Mr. Nelson Senyange. You're welcome.
Good evening, Solomon, and good evening to all the listeners on Xspace.
Good evening.
My encounter with you yesterday wasn't nice because I spoke about things you didn't want to listen to, and today is going to be the same narrative. Ugandans should stop gaslighting Ugandans. The entire conversation we had yesterday was about no one was violent. Police was violent. We don't want to hold any more conversation. And to make sure that different people are out. Solomon, you said you haven't had anything to eat today. It would be nice if you probably have a co-host because we're going to in courts of law. We need to know when they will be remanded, and the best way to do this is we're going to communicate via this space. This movement is not political. It is not driven by any political party. It has no leader from the political element, and no one is funding it. Whatever we're doing out of goodwill and asking for accountability for corruption to end. The data that we have collected their political powers. No. All we want is we're tired of corruption. That money that you people are stealing is our goal is to fight the corruption that is happening in parliament. I'll also
civil that we listen to each other. I mean, you spoke, we listened to you. So just out of
It is
courtesy.
civil enough if we ask for corrupt officials to come down and you host them to gaslight us. How civil can it get? I think I would really appreciate, out of respect, I think it would be respectful enough for you not to bring Nakalema into this conversation again. Thank you.
Mr. Senyange, I will not get the mic off you, but I want you to know that when you speak, people have a right to respond. And when they listen to you, you also have a right to listen. So again, I would request that you listen.
Solomon, we have people missing. Let's get on to the next thing. You can't.
No, that's because
you can't tell me about listening when yesterday at least you could be listen to me, simply because I started off on a note that you didn't want to listen to. You get it how uncomfortable it gets. So you're contradicting yourself.
No, I am not actually, because today you've raised it and I kept quiet to listen. So, just for the purpose of listening to each other, yesterday was a place of accountability. People asked questions, people spoke out. It wasn't even about gaslighting, it was about the citizens holding people to account. So I just wanted to mention that period. But let's move on. All right, thanks a lot, Mr. Nelson Senyage. People are missing, people have been arrested, we're in this together. And I just want you to know that we're in this together and we are all concerned. All right, let me bring in Namubiru Barbara, you're welcome. Namubiru Barbara, are you there? Okay, let me bring in Mr. Emeka, you're welcome.
Thank you, Solomon. Good evening, and good evening to everyone on this Twitter space. Now, I will go right away and share this. First of all, why are the guys on top threatened when the youth come out and want to protest peacefully, ask for accountability of their taxpayers' money? Nobody has planned to riot in a very bad way. Nobody has planned to destroy property. Pfizer, B-Wall, Thomas, Baron Edgar were found in a parking lot. Someone was actually spying on them. They were found in a parking lot. Mind you, they had not even started the journey. Police came and whisked them away. Pfizer is sick. Pfizer is actually not well. You saw her smiling. Pfizer is sick. I work with her. Pfizer is sick. She's not just sick. She is very sick. They've done nothing wrong and they've been whisked away. Parliament was going on today. Why wasn't the Speaker of Parliament chairing the Parliament today? Why wasn't she leading the plenary today? Why did she leave it to the Deputy Speaker? Why was she away? Where was she? Was she on official duty somewhere else? That is the accountability we want. Let me tell you, for a very long time, I have been quiet. As a person in the entertainment industry, I have been quiet, saying that these issues do not concern me. From the day I buried a relative with cancer, from the time I had stories and stories and stories of family members who have been in government and have been murdered, I decided to get up and rise up and do something. Let me tell you, if we do nothing, we are all going to be affected. They have sent journalists to come and threaten me. I have been threatened. Samson Kasumba has been threatening me and saying, I'm not threatening you, I'm telling you the reality. What kind of reality? Guys are in bed with people on top, people eating our taxpayers' money. And all they can do is come and gaslight us and tell us that it's not going to yield anything? Really? To all those of you who are quiet, trust me, it will come back and bite you. I did not love the sight I saw at police today. I did not. I did not. People have decided to move peacefully, and you are manhandling them. Pictures have been going around on social media today showing the conditions under which these police officers live, and they still have the luxury of manhandling people, of arresting people who are doing their work peacefully. If these people think that what they are doing is right, why are they threatened by peaceful protesters? Why? Why are they threatened by peaceful protesters? Why? We want accountability as Ugandans. We are not threatening anyone's position. No, all we want is accountability. And we want those who are corrupt, those who have eaten money, to leave. Step down. This country does not belong to you. This country belongs to all of us. Enough is enough. Like, enough is enough. When I see the kind of taxes that are being cut off my salary, I get so hurt. I get pissed off. I get pissed off. This is not the Uganda we want to live in. This is not the country we want to live in. This is not the Uganda we wish for our children. Because if we keep quiet, it is our children and grandchildren who are going to be affected. People have been paid to downplay this struggle. People have been paid to push hashtags, stay home and stay safe. People have been paid to feel like whoever is marching is doing something stupid. Really? Honestly, really? And you eat that money and you're happy? People making tweets mocking others, really? For how long are we going to let this stupidity go on? For how long? Honestly speaking, for how long are we going to let for how long? When people come out and we're making a peaceful protest to parliament, then you say they want to, then government is threatened. Nobody is threatening your positions. All we want is freaking accountability. Accountability, that is it. Here, Ugandans are arrested, Ugandans are taken to prison when someone in a higher position dies. I'm not a person who wishes misfortune on anyone, but please understand when people celebrate, because we have been pushed to the wall. We have been pushed to the wall. We have been pushed to the wall. Imagine people have been picked from their workplaces. People have been picked from the streets, moving. Nobody has thrown a stone. Nobody has done anything negative. But you are arresting people who have done nothing wrong. Why? I have a lot of pain in my heart. I have a lot of pain. A lot of pain. And after that, someone comes and starts saying that you who is in the limelight, you who is doing a job that requires you to interact with a lot of big people, you're going to lose employment opportunities. Is it because you're emceeing events at residences of people who are eating government money? Really? Guys, it's time to rise up. We are not. I'm not telling anyone to be violent. No. We need to wake up as Ugandans. We need to freaking wake up as Ugandans. Honestly speaking, you look at the conditions these police officers are going through. You are being used. Honestly speaking.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Emeka, for your submissions. I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. Yesterday, I got a young person who was taxed, and I think I was coming from that space to talk about it, to pay taxes, and yet his business was just starting, and knowing that that money was all going to be taken up to buy generators and to buy to fence electric homes for the speaker and the deputy speaker was quite annoying. But it's your views, your comments, your opinions.
Solomon, another thing.
Yes.
Another thing. Last week on Friday, I went to the Uganda Cancer Institute. I'm doing some work. I'm doing some work personally with another friend to help children who have cancer and give them items. Like it's philanthropy we are doing. Solomon, I did not like the sight. I did not like what I found at the institute. People are sleeping on the floors. People are sleeping on the floors. I bypassed a woman who was crying. She was given a freaking medical bill of 3 million shillings. She could not afford the fucking medicine. She could not afford medicine. And MPs are demanding for salary increment. These idiots are demanding for... What kind of country are we living in? Trust me, you guys, I really, really hope that one, like, I really hope that if any of those guys eating public money gets sick and they are taken to Mulago, I really wish you guys go through what Ugandans are going through. If you go to the casualty ward in Mulago, people who have gotten accidents, man, doctors reach a time and they are overwhelmed. They have nothing to do for these patients. I saw people crying yesterday. First of all, people do not have money to pay for those medical bills. Secondly, there is no medicine. Thirdly, people are sleeping on the ground. People are sleeping on the freaking ground. People are sleeping on the ground. Go to Chirudu. Go to Chirudu. Like, I've taken time as a person and I have gone to a couple of hospitals in the previous months. Trust me, it is not a good sight. It is not a good sight. Our healthcare system is so bad. It's so bad. And guess what? What are our leaders advocating for? What are our leaders advocating for? They're advocating for increment. They're advocating for a lot of money. Really? Our speaker is advocating for a new generator at her place. Parliament is spending over 2.6 billion shillings in a day. Really? Can't all that money be channeled to help? Honestly speaking, this Uganda is not the kind of Uganda you dream to be in. It is not. It is not. I believe there are a couple of leaders on this space. They even have their fake accounts. They even have their informants. Go tell your leaders to first go to the hospitals. Go up country to those health centers. You cannot tell me that you are building such a mansion that looks like a mall and the healthcare center in your constituency is so bad. So bad. And after that, you come and you are downplaying people's struggles. Honestly speaking, for how long are we going to keep quiet? For how long are we going to freaking keep quiet? For how long? You guys who are given money, who are paid money to keep quiet, for how long are you going to do it? Let me tell you, that day you will ever get a patient, go to the Cancer Institute or go to any government hospital. That day you ever get a patient, that day you will have to spend over 2-3 million shillings per day, is that day you will hate the impunity in this country. I have gone through it. Every time I go to the Cancer Institute, I am depressed. I am so depressed every time I go to the Cancer Institute. I am so depressed. I rest my case for now.
Mr. Maker, thank you. Yeah, mine. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. I've been at the Cancer Institute so many times. The doctors there work day and night. The queues are long. I've been there. Thank you, Lord. Gloria Adiero, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Solomon. Good evening, everybody. I would like to take time to appreciate and applaud all the contributions that we've witnessed today, from those that actually took their time to march, who obviously are not with us at this point, and to all those that spared their different resources to also contribute, add their voice. But most importantly, I noticed a very big disconnect. And moving forward, I would like for us to creatively think and come up with different suggestions about how we can actually bridge the disconnect. For instance, we witnessed how the arrest happened and reactions were lacking from most of the general public that witnessed. And also beyond that, in terms of contributions from upcountry, it was quite minimal. How can we actively all ensure that we understand this is not just a fight that is for Kampala people, but it's just a general fight towards corruption that has affected all different regions of Uganda, all different districts in one way or the other. Because for one, of course, using the voice that we have, the power that we have, we contributed in ways that could actually ensure to reflect to other people around us, to understand this is not only a fight that is meant for people from Kampala, and for those that obviously went for the march, we saw a number of them make posts, and in that communication, they were sharing that they did not have anything to lose because they did not have jobs or houses. But what of you that actually have a source of income, that have invested your resources in a business? You do have something to lose. You cannot actually just pack up and relocate and start a new life elsewhere. What of the dream and vision that you had? We deserve a Uganda that actually offers all of us equal opportunities. And that means all of us deserve to use our different capabilities and apply ourselves. It was, of course, very great to see the different lawyers show up and participate, but we saw the charges which they use for the remand. These are actually quite archaic laws. When do we start actually requesting for the reforms towards some of these colonial policies and structures of governance that we still have to date? Beyond just the day that we've had today, what else can we actually do? What other contributions shall we be making? So my contribution is just in general to look at ways we can bridge the disconnect and collectively show up to also offer our meaningful contributions towards the fight for corruption to Uganda, for a Uganda that serves all of us. And it's not only the responsibility of a certain few, but all of us. When you come to where I actually live, the community, most of the social amenities that we have, the schools, the hospitals, so many of them were built so many years back, and there are no new additions. You go from a distance of over 10 kilometers to just be able to see just a source of water that is supposed to supply over 3,000 people. This is all very unfortunate because we're seeing how resources that are available through our contributions are actually being spent. So the assumption that this is only something that affects people in Kampala because there are sets of problems that they've aired out when it comes to issues like poor roads or infrastructures means we do not have any is something that we actually have to retire. So I would like to appreciate everyone for their contributions, but beyond this, what more can we actually offer? Thank you so much.
Wow, perhaps that's a question that we need to answer. Gloria, Jero, thank you very much for that. You'll allow me just give the opportunities to the speakers, and then you'll allow me close the space. Brenda Nakalema, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. First of all, let me start by saying thank you to everyone that for everything that you've contributed, whatever your contribution was. May the good Lord reward your bravery and your concern. I wasn't planning on speaking. I was just listening in and just hearing the stories, but I heard someone say something and I felt I needed to voice my strong dissent. I didn't even get this person's name, unfortunately, but I want to address what he said. So let me start by saying that social and political changes in Europe and America and every other place that we know often started in one corner, one country, sparked off by something, and then caught fire and basically spread across the entire continent. And that's how a lot of change has come into some of those places. The Kenyan protests, for instance, were successful for so many reasons, but the international community played a very big role as well. They were able to amplify what was on the ground, and next thing we knew, the Kenyan story was reaching every single corner. Kenyans inspired Ugandans, Nigerians, Europeans, everyone was talking about that story, and that made it even that much more powerful. It made it so hard for Ruto and his government to just hide behind words. So for someone to come in and say they don't want to see Kenyans participating in this is a Ugandan thing, I feel like that is beyond foolery. I want to completely voice my strong disagreement with that. We need all the help we can get. Everyone who can amplify what's happening here, whether, even if you're not in the country, if you can retweet, if you can send money, anything you can do is appreciated. And we need to make sure that we completely ignore voices of such people who come to spread division, who come to make to completely remove the focus of what we're supposed to be trying to achieve, and they come in and start trying to just disorganize everyone. Such people should not be allowed within this community, within this struggle. We have more important things that we're fighting right now. We do not need that type of confusion. Thank you so much to every single person who is taking part. Thank you so much. And for those who can't be there on the ground, please give. Let's give as little, whatever you have, whether it's little, whether it's a lot, just give. And let's try and see what we can do with the momentum that we have. Thank you. Thank you, Solomon.
All right. Thank you very much, Brenda Nakalima, for your submission and for clarification. I think I have my last say with Namobiru Babra. You're welcome. For some reason, we can't hear you. Emeka, can you hear Namobiru?
No, I can't. I can't.
Okay. Sorry, Barbara, we can't hear you. Thank you very much. I can see that space at 6 o'clock. It's 10. I've been in the field the whole day covering the protests, the march to Parliament. For the people in the legal fraternity, let's stand up. Let's be in court whenever these hearings are coming. In the activism space, I think that we can also make a contribution. I think Ugandans are talking, the young people are leading this conversation, and I think that all of us deserve a better Uganda. I'm Solomon Serwanja, and I'm really grateful. I'm happy that I hosted you, and I'm looking forward to really follow up on the people I'm missing. I think that it was Mr. Nelson Senyange who was saying that we all need to look out for people who are missing, so that we we account for them. We try to look out for them. For those of you who have footage, please keep that footage. Maybe we will need it one day. All right. You'll allow me to say good night. God bless. Thank you so much for listening. And we will